Welcome to the Conscious Leadership Podcast. In this podcast, we discuss the how-to of creating conscious leadership for business, life, and the world. With ordinary people doing extraordinary things and being truly in control of their own health, wealth, and happiness. Knowledge plus action with a plan creates magical results. Introducing your host, Julie Hogbin, author, international speaker, mentor, disruptor, and creator of conscious leadership, and property investor living in the UK. Well, this is a cheery episode. I'm going to be talking to you about the top 5 regrets of the dying. And why do I say that with a bit of a smile in my voice? Because I don't want to get to the end of my life and have these regrets. And I really don't want anybody else to get to the end of their life and have these regrets. And seeing as we're coming out of 2020 and what a year that was, and we're going into 2021, and my previous episode was around 2020 vision, which is generally linked to sight, but what is our vision? Can we see our vision going forward? What does that look like? I just thought I would share the top 5 regrets of the dying so that we can all choose to do something different with our life going forward, regardless of our age, regardless of our situation. And the top 5 regrets of the dying was compiled from a palliative care nurse. And her job was to look after those that were dying. And she had lots of conversations with the people that she was caring for, and she counselled them in their last days, weeks, months. And one of the things that she mentioned was that as people are dying, there is no mention of having more sex or doing more bungee jumps. But these are the top 5. And she specifically asked them if they had any regrets, or was there anything they would do differently? And she indicated that common themes surfaced again and again. And her name was Bronnie Ware. She was an Australian nurse. And she basically looked after the patients in the last 12 weeks of their lives. So here are the top 5 regrets of the dying. Number 1. I wish I'd had the courage to live a true life to myself, not the life others expected of me. And this was the most common regret of all. When people realise that their life is almost over and they look back clearly on it, it was easy for them to see how many dreams had gone unfulfilled. Most people had not honoured even half of their dreams and died knowing that it was due to the choices that they had made or not made. And health brings a freedom very few realise until we, or they, or you, no longer have it. So number 1, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Just think for yourself, are you living the life that you want to lead, or are you living a life that others are expecting of you? And what can you do about it? What can you do to get yourself to live the life that is true to you? Number 2 was, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. And this was from every single male patient that Bronnie nursed. They'd missed their children's youth, they'd missed their partner's companionship, and not being part of groups, not being part of their home life. Women did also speak of this regret, but when this research were done, most were from an older generation, and most of the female patients hadn't been the breadwinners of the family. They had been the caregiver to the family and the mother of the family. All of the men that Bronnie nursed deeply, deeply regretted spending so much of their lives on the treadmill of a work existence. So again, we're in a different era now, we're in a different time. So this would now apply to women and men. across both genders, across all sexes. Are you working too hard? Are you working so hard that you are missing out on some of the things that will only ever pass your way once? Think about what you're doing. This 2020 has really given us a different perspective on perhaps what we value, perhaps what we don't value, perhaps working from home, schooling children at home. It's really opened people up to a different way of doing things. So again, number 2, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. What can you do about it if you currently are? And that's whether you're building a business, whether you're in a business, whether you're employed, self-employed, retired, what are you actually doing? The third regret was that people wished they'd had the courage to express their feelings. And this came about from many people suppressing their feelings in order to keep peace with others. And as a result, because they didn't express their feelings, they felt they had settled for a mediocre existence and never became who they were truly capable of becoming. And many developed illnesses relating to the bitterness and resentment they carried as a result. This is vital for us all, for you, for me, for everybody, to learn to use the language that we have to express what is going on for us. If we bottle things and swallow things, they go internally negatively if we're bottling things up, and they do not do our health any good. So please, again, seriously, this is one of my skill sets. Develop the courage to express your feelings. We can do it well, we can do it professionally, we can do it at work, we can do it at home, we can do it in the middle of the street. It doesn't matter. We can learn the skill set because it is a skill set. The fourth regret was that people wished they'd stayed in touch with their friends. And often they would not truly realise the full benefits of old friends until their dying weeks. And it was not always possible to track them down. Many had become so caught up in their own lives that they had let golden friendships slip by over the years. And there were many deep regrets about not giving friendships the time and effort that they deserved. And everyone misses their friends when they're dying. Now, again, why am I saying this now? It's number 4 on the research that Bronnie did and that she shared with the world. But it's also thinking about 2020 and how isolated we have become from each other. So again, think about how have you stayed in touch with your friends through 2020? How do you intend to stay in touch with your friends or reconnect with your friends through 2021, regardless of whether we are in lockdown or not? Who do you need to make that phone call to? Who do you need to reconnect with? I say need. Who would you like to reconnect with? Who would you like to get on the phone? Just do it. Yeah, there is really, truly no time like now. You know, we may not have been able to see people, to physically be involved with them, but we can still pick that phone up. And the 5th one, really interestingly, was the regret of the dying, that they wished they had let themselves be happier. And this is a surprisingly common one. Many didn't realise until the end that happiness is actually a choice. They'd stayed stuck in their old patterns, they'd stayed stuck in their old habits. The so-called comfort zone, the familiar zone, had overflowed into their emotions as well as their physical lives. The fear of change had them pretending to others and to themselves that they were content, that they were happy, when actually deep within they long to laugh property and have silliness in their life again. So what are you going to do to allow yourself to be happier if you are not currently being happier, if you perhaps haven't got that silliness in your life? What can you do? How do you create that fun, that enjoyment, the merriment that as children we all experienced so often? Well, I'm hoping you did. I did, even as a bit of a shy individual as a child. I'd be very happy to play with my dolls. Now, of these 5, that I've read out for you, number one, I'm good with. So I do live a life true to myself, not the life that others expected of me. And along the way, I've lost people because I have done something differently. I certainly work too hard. I do express my feelings. I've learned how to do that. I haven't really stayed in touch with friends, and I've lost some friends because I changed my life. So again, I probably need to develop more. And I'm not always happy, I have to admit. I sometimes get very serious, so it's one I need to work on. So of the 5, and that's me being honest with you on this podcast. So of the 5, I'm just going to repeat them, so get your pen out. Number 1, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. How are you doing on that one? Number 2, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. How are you doing on that one? Number 3, I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. How are you doing on that one? Number 4, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. How are you doing on that one? And number 5, I wish I had let myself be happier. How are you doing on that one? What can you do about them? How can you change them? Add it into your vision. Add it into your goals for the new year, depending on what it is that you need to do or that you want to do. I use the word need because I know I need to do some of these, but not only do I need to, I want to as well. So here's to the new year. Here's to whenever you are listening to this, because it doesn't have to be at the new year. It could be at the beginning of a week, the beginning of the month. It could be in July. It really doesn't matter. Think about what you can do, how you can improve whatever your life currently is, because it really is no benefit to us when we live it not happy, not doing what we love, surrounding ourselves with people that we really don't want to be around. Think about what you can do. And again, once again, and this is deadly, deadly serious, if you need any help with any of this, please reach out. I will be more than happy to help you. Thanks for listening to the Conscious Leadership Podcast. You can contact Julie on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and hear me out. Please subscribe to her YouTube channel for how-to videos and more content. And please message Julie to have your questions answered. Until next time, remember, knowledge plus action with a plan creates magical results. See it, say it, write it, believe it, and achieve it.